Well, hello. With the recent craze over the Boston safety pen made by noodlers, the whole idea of safety pens is getting a lot more attention. I have seen mention of Boston safety pen in some of the eBay auctions and so on. So it seems like it'd be a good time for me to review a safety pen. Now this looks like a safety pen, but it's not. This is a retractable nib pen made in France for the school market. This is a Stypen Up. So if content like this interests you, where I review fountain pens, both old and new, and at all different price points, please subscribe below. If you've got an odd beast in your collection, or you would like to comment about this guy, please feel free to comment below. So the Stypen Up was actually manufactured for the student market. This is a pocket pen. I'm just grabbing, the first pen I grabbed, which happens to be a Central pen, a more standard size pen, so that gives you an idea. Definitely a pocket pen. Now, you see there's a very short little cap there, so let's get into how this pen works. Let's take a closer look. You may have a retractable pen. The Pilot makes some. Lamy has a retractable pen. This is retractable. Oops, where's the nib? Hiding right there. Now I tried that on a Boston safety pen and I go whoop and the ink pours out, but not this one. This is a cartridge pen. Now when you turn this knob up here, out comes the nib. And you can see immediately why it has to be retractable. I'm having trouble with that word, aren't I? Retractable, because if the nib were out, I can't put the cap on. Now there is no defensive mechanism in here to make sure I don't smush the nib, but the nib is pretty robust in that way. It's kind of neat. The holes, shine right through the feed. Now, if I want to open the pen, I'll just show you the guts here. It unscrews. It is a converter pen. Inside the barrel, I suppose you could try a converter. Honestly, I'd be a little scared. So I have not done a converter in this pen. But it's made out of a very low-cost plastic. Not too much to look at. The only real adornment besides these stripes on the cap, it has the word, oops, turn it the right way. Cap, which is a fingerprint magnet, has the word Stypen. Stypen was actually a French manufacturer. They were acquired by Bic, yes, of the infamous, that other type of pen manufacturer. Sorry, I can't even look when I say that. Yes, they were acquired by Bic back in 2004. At the time, Stypen had about 10% of the school refillable fountain pen market. And you'll actually find, if you do a search, I put a link to one of them down below. Bic for a while did sell this pen under its own branding as Bic Turn and Up. And the one I linked to is all flowery on Amazon and no longer available. So I really couldn't find this model on Bic's website anymore, so I'm thinking Bic may have given up on it. I don't know that, so I won't say that for certain. This pen is difficult to find, but you can still find a few out there. They're fairly low cost. I don't think it's a big collector's item, and I don't know why I'm holding it instead of laying it here so you can see it. My question is, what's the benefit of being retractable? Well, honestly, it's to shave a fraction of an inch off the length of the cap. That's the only use I can see for being retractable. It feels okay in the hand. Posts just fine. Right here you have a bit of a sharp step, but nothing horrible. As far as complaints about this pen, the biggest one I've found is it's very slow for ink to get into the feed, and it does sometimes just dry up as I write. Now I did just write a full page of a letter, had no problem. But earlier today, I was taking notes, and instead of putting them on 3x5 cards the way I usually do, I decided to put them in my notebook where I usually write my outlines. And you can see right here, it quit writing. Right here, it quit writing. But like I said, I wrote a full page of a letter to somebody later on in the day, so maybe the ink just finally got into the feed, I don't know. But anyway, Stypen, of course, is a French manufacturer. It's been around since 1934, and I guess is no longer. So enough of me babbling about the pen. Let's take a look at how it writes. I have diamine ancient copper in it, which is a very attractive color. I just don't care for the ink because in this pen, if I pull this out later this week, is going to be all crusty and disgusting with this ink. It behaves better, and it kind of depends on the pen as far as I've seen. So I prefer Noodler's Antietam as an alternative to this. But this is the cartridges I had handy, so that's what I went with. Do not expect a lot of line variation. It's not a flex pen. This is definitely a nail. That said, I think it writes okay. Wetness and flow. This is actually just barely long enough I can write with it unposted. Not that posting it really gives it that much more length. See, it keeps up. Other than, like I said at the beginning, I did have some trouble. So wetness and flow, we'll do a little smear test. So, not the wettest pen, but not bad. Let's see what reverse writing looks like. So I write the word reverse, and then I rewrite it again in reverse. Ooh, wow, is that scratchy. Yeah, ick, not a reverse writer. And I write like a child when I write in reverse because it catches on the paper so much. So now we'll come to the point in my writing sample where I'll do a quote. So this isn't one of my favorite pens. As a pocket pen, I suppose it serves its purpose. It does dry up too quickly. I need to write with it every day. Otherwise, I have all kinds of trouble getting it started again. And it's compounded by this particular ink. I don't use a lot of cartridges, so I don't have a lot around the house. So it's just kind of luck I had a couple of this color available. And that's why I'm dealing with it. But as far as good fountain pens, you might want to pick one up just as a curiosity because it's a retractable fountain pen. It's not a horrible writer, it's just not great. But there are other pocket fountain pens that I prefer, namely the Kaweco Sport, very high on my list. JetPen's Chibi is actually a very nice pocket fountain pen. So there's several out there, and I'm not sure, other than the novelty of a retractable nib, what really this one has any benefit. And it doesn't take advantage of some of those things like the JetPen's Chibi and the Kaweco Sport add a lot of length when you post. You don't get that here. It is just barely long enough to be okay writing, but the retractable nib thing is purely a novelty. So anyway, do you have any novelties or ugly ducklings in your collection? What do you think of this one? Do you like retractable nibs on fountain pens anyway? So lots of questions I guess I could ask instead of a real clear call to action this week. So anyway, thank you for watching. Videos like this where I discuss fountain pens and review them, and old, new, at all price levels interest you, please feel free to subscribe below, and I'll leave a comment if something in this video resonated with you, since I messed up my call to action. So thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.